Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everybody to the regular council sitting of the City of Westmount, October 1st, 2025. Bonjour, bienvenue tout le monde aux séances régulées de la Conseil de la Ville de Westmount pour le 1er octobre 2025. This is the last council meeting of this mandate and the last council meeting of mine after 12 years of sitting in various chairs at the front of this room. Donc, je vais commencer avec quelques mots de mon part, puis je pense que tout le conseil a des rapports aussi. Bonjour à tous et à tous. Il y a 12 ans, j'ai entamé ce parcours, non pas poussé par une ambition de faire carrière dans la politique municipale, mais pour participer activement au développement de ma communauté. La communauté où je vis, où j'élève mes enfants. À cette époque, ma plus jeune était encore dans une poussette. Aujourd'hui, j'ai 3 ados qui, comme tous les ados, me trouvent souvent embarrassant, mais qui sont aussi fiers du travail que nous avons accompli ensemble. Throughout my life, I have deeply believed in the value of public service, and I still do. I believe that governments at all levels have an obligation to serve their citizens and to move things forward, because cities that do not adapt to today's needs don't stand still. They fall behind. I am also grateful to all those that work in public service, from the blue-collar workers to the first responders and to the professionals that help deliver services every single day. When I first arrived in the mayor's office, we had an enormous task ahead of us. As just one example, from the room that you're all sitting in right now at City Hall, the roof leaked, the windows had holes, and the masonry was being held together by vines. The greenhouse had collapsed, the working greenhouses were condemned, and our roads, sewers, parks, and everything else all needed attention. We rolled up our sleeves, we put our heads down, and we got to work. We developed a plan and increased the pace of infrastructural renewal. Each year, we struck a careful balance, moving roads, sewers, parks, and buildings forward, knowing that the work was greater than what any single year's budget could cover. The city was moved forward, but as anyone who has served here knows and who has sat at the front of this room knows, the work is never truly done. City building is a lot like laundry. Just when you think you've finished, there's always more to do. During the pandemic, this responsibility took on a whole new meaning. Like so many parents, I was homeschooling my 3 children and taking care of aging parents. At the same time, I was leading a city through unprecedented uncertainty. Those months were some of the most demanding of my career, but they were also the most meaningful. I am proud of how we cared for our residents, how we looked out for one another, and how we ensured that even in crisis, I don't know, why am I like, I've just like been smiling for months now. I know I'm getting old. Even in crisis, the city continued to move forward. I am proud of pushing and leading the city to ensure that there were skating rinks, toboggan runs, and pools to swim in, that seniors got their groceries and their medicines, and that the librarians could still do their magic. Politics can be rough and tumble sport. Over the years, I've read all of your angry letters. I've felt the heat in this council chamber, and then I walk the streets and I talk to people and I listen, not just to the loudest and the angriest voices, but also to those who are quietly building our community, showing up, contributing, building this country, and believing in what's possible. There will always be those who try to convince you that everything is broken, that no one can be trusted, that cynicism is the only honest response. Don't believe them. This is a great community. We are fortunate to enjoy extraordinary benefits, and we should be grateful for them, but we still have lots of work to do. And as candidates are out there in the streets at your doors in the weeks ahead, I encourage residents to truly engage with them. Ask them what they believe, because complaining is not a policy platform, and when they make promises, ask them how they will bring them to life. Ask if they understand the complexities of running a city, from infrastructure and security to our role within Montreal. These are serious responsibilities, and they deserve serious answers. Ask them if they understand the complexities of the state of the infrastructure. And if you think the potholes are bad, just you wait until you find out what's underground. Ask them what role Westmount should play in a housing crisis and an aging population that will need different types of housing. For those of you who will continue in public service or are stepping forward to run for office, I applaud you. I say this to you as well, to commit to making this city even better. Keep moving it forward, seek out the good, and remember to zoom out. There are incredible examples all over the world of cities that are innovating and thriving. Westmount can and should continue to be one of them. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Westmount as your mayor and as a councillor. I thank you for your trust, your engagement, your challenges, your support. Together, we've built something meaningful, and the work goes on. Donc, un gros merci à tout le monde. Thank you. Je pense qu'on va des commentaires, des updates de toutes les conseillères. Donc, on va commencer à ce côté cette fois, parce que je pense que la dernière fois, on a commencé avec Mme Kez. Puis j'ai d'autres commentaires sur quelques dossiers qui s'entraînent dans la ville, comme la sécurité publique. Peut-être Mme Kez va faire celui-là. OK, M. D'Amico.
Merci, Mme la mairesse. Et en passant, bonne fête, Mme la mairesse.
Merci. Greatest present of all time. Council with you.
Donc, bonjour, chers collègues du Conseil, résidentes et amis. Alors que je prononce ce discours final de mon mandat actuel, c'est avec une profonde gratitude et un engagement renouvelé que je m'adresse à vous. Être votre conseiller municipal a été un immense honneur, une expérience qui m'a transformé tant sur le plan personnel que professionnel. Aux citoyennes et citoyens du District 1, merci pour votre confiance, votre implication et votre foi en la démocratie locale. Vos voix ont guidé mes décisions et votre passion pour notre communauté a toujours été ma source d'inspiration. À mes collègues du Conseil, merci pour votre collaboration, votre dévouement et votre persévérance. Ensemble, nous avons affronté des enjeux complexes, débattus avec conviction et toujours placé le bien-être de notre ville au cœur de nos actions. À la mairesse sortante, merci pour vos années de leadership et de service. Votre vision et votre constance ont marqué notre ville. Alors que vous quittez la politique municipale, sachez que votre héritage continuera d'inspirer celles et ceux qui vous succéderont. Bien que ce soit la fin de mon mandat actuel, ce n'est pas la fin de mon parcours. Je sollicite un nouveau mandat parce que je crois au travail que nous avons amorcé et l'avenir que nous pouvons bâtir ensemble. Je demeure engagé à servir avec intégrité, transparence et cœur. Merci à toutes et à tous pour le privilège de vous représenter. Je me tourne vers l'avenir avec espoir, humilité et détermination. Merci du fond du cœur. Good afternoon, council colleagues, residents, and friends. As I deliver this final address in my current term, I do so with deep appreciation and renewed commitment. Serving as your city councilor has been a profound honor and one that has shaped me both personally and professionally. To the residents of District 1, I thank you for your trust, your engagement, and your belief in the power of local democracy. Your voices have guided my decisions, and your passion for our community has been my constant motivation. To my fellow councillors, thank you for your collaboration, your dedication, and your resilience. Together, we've navigated complex issues, debated passionately, and always kept the well-being of our city at the heart of our work. Thank you. To our outgoing mayor, happy birthday, first of all. Thank you for your years of leadership and service. Your steady hand and vision have left a lasting impact on our city. As you step away from municipal politics, know that your legacy will continue to inspire those who follow. Though this marks the end of my current term, it is not the end of my journey. I am seeking re-election because I believe in the work we've started and the future we can build together. I remain committed to serving with integrity, transparency, and heart. Thank you all for the privilege of serving. I look forward to what lies ahead with hope, humility, and determination. Merci. Thank you.
Madame Rue, les événements.
Oui.
Always the good stuff.
J'ai fait mes au revoir déjà. So, first of all, it's time for the call for candidates for the Westmount Public Library Committee. It's a great committee. It's one of our only ones where you have a mix of administration, councillors, and residents. So lots of fun. So we're looking to fill 2 positions within the Public Library Committee. They're appointed for 3 years. Successful candidates are expected to volunteer their time and expertise. Please submit a letter of interest by Friday, the 10th of October, 2025. You'll find more details on our website. There's an author event on October 9th at 7 p.m. with Carol Off at Victoria Hall. So she's a journalist, author of At Loss for Words, Conversation in an Age of Rage. So when we listen to international politics, it's certainly appropriate. So the award-winning radio journalist explores the meaning of 6 words that have been twisted in recent years. So it's in collaboration with Paragraph Bookstore. Then on October 19th at 2 p.m., so that's for the younger ones, starting at 8 years old, storytelling event, when Wheels Come Back Again, so at Victoria Hall again. So this is more of a family event. Then at 7 p.m. on the 8th of October at Victoria Hall, there's a concert, an evening of Celtic harmony. On Friday the 9th at 6 p.m. at the gallery, there's going to be a vernissage for Jessica Rosler and Tyler Rozicki. The exhibit will go on until the 9th of November. And then exciting, it's our last meeting here, so that's because there's an election. So there's going to be a Meet the Candidates, 3 of them actually. So on the 15th of October from 7 to 10 at Victoria Hall, that's for District 1, 2, and 3. And because there's so many...
Ça, c'est nouveau.
Ça, c'est nouveau, tu vois? Even for you, I make announcements that are worth something.
Whoa.
And then on the 16th, again from 7 to 10, again at Victoria Hall for District 4, 5, and 6. There's just too many candidates that it would have been a little crazy to have them all.
They've had...
What about 7 and 8?
They didn't tell me that. Good point. Maybe we're getting rid of 7 and 8. I don't know. Or you were acclaimed. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, sorry, no details. So maybe it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4. I won't say anything ridiculous. We'll find out, and maybe
Watch the website.
I'll try to find out before the end of the meeting. And then there's the mayor's debate, so not to be missed, on October 23rd. So that's a Thursday, again from 7 to 10 at Victoria Hall. Then there's advanced polling on the 24th. So everything I'm telling you about is at Victoria Hall. I'll stop repeating. Victoria Hall on the 24th from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then again, advanced polling on the 26th, but from noon till 8 p.m. Then for something completely different, the film club, The Outrun, on the 28th at 2, and our special Halloween special screening. So this year, it's The Thing from 1982 at 7 p.m. at Victoria Hall. So after all these election announcements, I encourage you to please go vote on the 2nd of November. Some people around this table have been elected with 2 or 3 votes in the past. So when we say that every vote counts, it really does. And as these are my last announcements, I'd like to, I had the easy part. I just had to announce, but there's a lot of work that goes behind putting all this together. And those are my friends, because after 4 years, I'll call them my friends at the library and at events, who always have the city and the residents at heart to do the best possible work. So thank you to them. Thank you to the residents who put me in this chair. Thank you for the rest of you that shared your knowledge and your wisdom with me over the 4 years. It was instructive, helpful, and kind, and deeply appreciated. So thank you to everybody. Best for the city.
There was an event, I guess it was last week? Was it already? I can't remember. So we did it. We have started doing citizenship ceremonies in the Westmount over the past, well, not started, but we've been doing them now for about 8 years. And they are always a very touching event, and it's done by our community events with citizen volunteers. And we just recently had one where Madame Roux was the Master of Ceremonies, as she has taken on that role for several of these citizenship ceremonies. And there is nothing quite as heartwarming as seeing people take their oath in Victoria Hall, in our community center. And Immigration Canada has always said that it is it's on their top of the list of places to do it, because it is so meaningful that it's in a community center as opposed to an office building downtown. So I just want to thank them as well for that very special event that they put on, with our volunteers that help run it. Donc, un gros merci à celui-là.
So if I can just add, if my numbers are right, I think we had 57 people from 24 different countries.
Yeah.
It's really something, and I apologize because I didn't realize the whole community's invited, so I should have put it in my announcement. I didn't realize, but apparently in past years, the room was just filled with Westmounters excited to see all these people getting their Canadian passport or Canadian citizenship, and it's a reminder for all of us who were born with a Canadian passport in our hands how much it actually means, because when we started off that way, we have a tendency to forget sometimes.
Yeah,
So-
my favorite, not to have favorites, but my favorite was a young woman who got her citizenship, who takes the bus 2 hours a day to Vanier College to get her nursing degree. Donc, bravo à elle aussi. Donc,
And thank you to her to be coming
Yeah.
and taking care of us.
Monsieur Chamy?
That on?
I just want to take a moment to reflect on Mayor Smith's 12 years. And I know your fellow councillors will be. Is that on? Is that on? And I just want to, I know your fellow councillors join me in saying that it has been an honor and a privilege to serve with you. But I wanted to take a quick moment to say you really brought out in all of us what it means to answer the call, what public service is all about. You showed us that it's okay to dissent. I know it's one of my monthly speeches. I always talk about civility, respect. It's all right to disagree. And the beauty of our system, and Christina, you've been, Mayor Smith, you've really showed the way, led the way, is that we're independent councillors led by the elected mayor, and we're independent. We don't have political parties. We come together in consensus. Yes, some dissent, some don't agree, but we have respect and civility. And to that, Christina, Mayor Smith, you taught us that, and you showed us that generosity of spirit, that civility, that respect is fundamental in attracting women and men to serve, and the next generation of women and men to serve. And for that, we're truly grateful. So we wish you well. I'm going to miss you if I get elected again. If I don't get elected again, I'll join you in something else. But the call for everyone, for folks to reach out and do something, get engaged, you've really led the way, and we're very grateful to you.
Or at the very least, please just vote. Donc, merci. It's been a pleasure to serve with you as well, Mr. Chamy. Conrad, do you have any updates?
Yeah. No updates. There we go. No updates, but, and I didn't have any prepared remarks, but I'd be remiss in not just saying a few words. Thank you to the residents. Thank you to the residents of District 4. I'm looking at Antonio, so District 1 just came out of the mouth. Freudian slip. For entrusting me and for entrusting all of us with this great privilege and honor to serve the community. It's when you think about taking on this role at the beginning, you don't know what you're getting into, and you start knocking on doors and you start meeting your neighbors, and it's fantastic. It really is. It really, really is. And then you get around this table, you get to know your councillors, and get to know them well, and then you get to know the city in a level of depth and complexity that you can never imagine. And it's a fantastic experience, and I applaud any of you who are in the audience right now who have signed up to vie for this role. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes energy, and as Councillor Chamy said too, it takes a very high level of convivialité, of being able to work together and to acknowledge that we're not going to agree. We're not going to agree on everything. We disagree, and we try to disagree without being disagreeable. And we know that we're just trying to advance, move the ball a little bit forward, one meeting at a time, and to get things done, to improve, incremental improvements. And as the mayor listed right at the beginning, there's just so much that's happened in the 8 years that I've been on the council, and for the 12 years that she's been a member of council. We have done a lot. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way from the outside in, but a lot has gotten done. And and you'll hear it probably again and again, there is so much left to do. We're just getting started. And we're continuing the work that our predecessors have done for us, and we are setting up the work for our successors to continue with. And so it's a great responsibility to have. And if I'm at the table, I'm happy to do it again. And just a special word for the mayor. When I came on council, there were 6 new people around the table. And I will speak for myself, none of us knew what we were doing. And we had to rely on the 3 prior members of council who were there, and mostly on the mayor, who was shepherding us through this new role, through a majority of new councilors. And she set the tone. She told us how, not told us, but I mean, like she led by example, and it was instructive for me. It was just the leadership and sometimes the North Star that we needed, just to know the city, to know the administration, to understand the expectations and the accountability that we have towards the public. And it was essential, because without something like that, we could have just all gone our own little ways and been 6 new councilors without, lacking direction, lacking focus. And she was able to cohere us into this force, and it was a force that we needed to take us into the pandemic, which just threw everything off. And as complex and unexpected as that was, I can look around this table here and chapeau to us who were there at the time, because I think we did okay. I think we really did okay, and it's not self-back-patting. It's we were hearing this from the community, and the fixes like the toboggan run. The toboggan run was just packed for weeks on end. We had to have police at the toboggan run. Just those small little interventions that we were able to do, and that's when you realize that as a public official at a very local micro level, the things that you can do to make a change are fantastic. And so when people ask me, do you like being a counselor? And I say, well, it depends on the day. But most days are great. They really are. And so the people who are in the audience, I see a few faces here who I know I recognize from your posters, and I've met you individually, and I applaud you for taking this on, and congratulations, and thank you, Madame la Mairesse.
Thank you. And for the very important role you have served on council, for that, there's no one around the table that won't talk about that, and the contributions that you've made, Councillor Pert, have been significant. Councillor Bostock.
I'll be brief, I promise. As you know, it's been an absolute privilege to represent this community. First, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our city administration. Your guidance, patience, and genuine love for our city are what keep everything moving forward. You're the ones who help new councillors understand the inner workings of the city while ensuring that our services remain strong and steady. You're the heart of this city, and I am truly grateful to have had the opportunity to work with each and every one of you. To our residents, thank you for your engagement, for your trust, and for putting your faith in us. Every decision we made was with the goal of making things better, addressing what had been neglected, strengthening what was working well, and always keeping the best interest of the entire community at heart. And to my fellow councillors, thank you for the last 8 years. This has been a wonderful experience, filled with meaningful conversations, challenges, and progress. I'm deeply grateful to have shared this journey with you all, and serving on this council has been an honor and a privilege. And just a little mention to Lorene Sweeney. I just want to thank you for being here and being online and reporting on all the things that we do in this city, and for calling us and asking us for quotes, and for bringing your little camera with you everywhere. And you are such an important part of our council experience, and I really want to thank you for that. And I'm done embarrassing you.
Councillor Gallery.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. J'ai aussi quelques mots de remerciement. If you will allow me a few moments. Good afternoon, everyone. Today marks the conclusion of my 8 years representing District 6 on council, and I'm filled with gratitude and honor. Serving this community has been a great privilege. I've learned so much, grown tremendously, and above all, I've been so proud to serve the people of Westmount, a community I would love to keep serving. Looking back to when this journey began in 2017 and reflecting on all that we have faced together, I am struck by how much we have achieved. Together, we have restored our historic greenhouse, upgraded and invested in all our beloved parks, invested in the Summit Woods, ensuring that they remain treasures for families and future generations. We carried out significant infrastructure investments in our roads, sewers, buildings, after decades of neglect. We modernized bylaws to make Westmount more open for business. We protected our precious tree canopy by strengthening regulations for preservation and conservation and by increasing fines for non-compliance. We improved the urban planning permit process so residents are better served and projects move forward responsibly. We added electrical vehicle charging stations, supporting our transition to a more sustainable future. We developed and adopted the PPU framework, a very important zoning change to help revitalize the Southeast sector. We also celebrated Westmount's 150th anniversary and the library's 125th anniversary, milestones that brought our community together with pride and joy. We created a new makerspace in the library, opening doors for learning, creativity, and innovation for all ages. We updated the city's website, making information more accessible and transparent. In sports, I'm proud to say that we developed and expanded the girls' hockey program, which is now a tremendous success. We launched self-defense classes for women and seniors. We built an even stronger partnership with Contactivity to better serve our seniors community. We expanded pickleball, building 4 new courts. We introduced digital card readers at the pool entrance gates. We provided e-bikes for our tennis monitors, supporting safety, mobility, and sustainability, and so much more. À travers tout cela, nous avons affronté ensemble d'immenses défis. Les années difficiles de la pandémie, une cyberattaque et une grève des cols bleus. Pourtant, Westmount est resté forte et a continué à avancer. Aucun de ces accomplissements n'appartient pas à une seule personne. Ils sont le fruit d'un effort collectif. Collègues du Conseil, employés de la ville, partenaires communautaires et surtout résidents qui se sont exprimés, qui se sont engagés et qui ont démontré leur attachement à notre communauté. Je vous remercie pour votre confiance, votre patience, votre soutien et aussi votre foi en notre avenir commun. Je veux aussi remercier l'administration pour votre soutien au cours des 8 dernières années et vous remercier pour tous vos efforts au service de la ville. C'est vraiment un service extraordinaire, des employés extraordinaires. C'est grâce à vous que notre communauté est aussi unique et spéciale. I would now like to thank my fellow councillors and colleagues. We have spent a great deal of time together over the last 4 years. Our many meetings, discussions, debates, late nights were memorable, always respectful and worthwhile, even when we disagreed. We challenged one another, we listened, and we made progress. At the end of the day, what we had in common was that we were all here for the right reasons, to serve our residents and strengthen our community. To those who are stepping down, thank you for your friendship and camaraderie. And to those who are stepping forward in this upcoming election, I do wish you all the best. Lastly, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Mayor Smith. For more than 8 years, you have led our city with vision, determination, and integrity. There were difficult days, but you always persevered. You faced criticism of your character, of certain decisions, and attacks on your credibility. Sadly, it comes with the job, with the reality of modern public service, where everyone has a voice, an opinion, and a keyboard. But all of us have seen how hard you have worked for the city, always with the right intentions and with a commitment to move files forward. For that, we are deeply grateful. We haven't always seen eye to eye, but we've always had robust, respectful dialogue about our differing opinions. Not only that, you took all the time for us, the councillors, but also for our city employees, offering support in moments of challenge and celebrating with us our successes. That's very generous. You are present in our personal lives, officiating weddings, welcoming new babies, and standing with us through times of loss. Your family shared you with us selflessly for 12 years. Your kids grew up with us. And because of your leadership and generosity, Westmount is stronger today. Public service is never about title or recognition. It's about responsibility, trust, and a duty to put people and community first. I end with deep gratitude for your service, your dedication, and the privilege of having served alongside you. As I finish my second term as councillor for District 6, I do so with immense pride in what we have accomplished together and with great optimism for what lies ahead. Westmount is strong, resilient, and ready for its next chapter. Du fond du cœur, merci de m'avoir accordé le privilège et le plaisir de vous servir.
Madam Mayor, so, you know, that's the thing. Following after, that's the thing. Oh, no, I'm going to be. See, following after Councillor Gallery, very tough act to follow. And before Councillor Kez, who gets the last word, what puts me in the middle here without, I've got great bookends. So I will, for a change, actually be brief. I had a lot of prepared remarks that I would like to give, but I don't want to repeat things that my fellow councillors have already said. So I reiterate the thank yous that have already been said, especially to you, Madam Mayor, for your service and for setting such an excellent example for the young people of our community who, in watching you do what you do with grace and with dignity, know that there is a role for young women in politics and that they can see themselves in what you do. I say to my daughters frequently that if you can see it, you can be it. And I'm so very proud that you have led our city so elegantly for the last 8 years. So thank you for that. I also did want to thank a couple of people that my fellow colleagues could not thank. I wanted to thank my own family for putting up with the sacrifices and the late hours that it requires of councillors and of the mayor in order to do this job properly. It is, for the councillors anyway, is supposed to be part-time. They never tell you which part of the time it is. It's usually when you're supposed to be with doing family things or sleeping or sometimes doing your day job. Nevertheless, every minute has been an honor and a privilege to serve with all of you, to work with our administration and our very hardworking staff. So I want to thank my family for letting me have the freedom to go ahead and be supportive of me as I take on or took on this role, and as I will hopefully take it on again. I want to thank the neighbors and residents of District 7 who put their trust in me in the last 4 years, and to say that I've enjoyed this so much that I'd like to try again. And so I'm going to be putting myself forward as a candidate for re-election on November the 2nd. I don't need to go through very much more because I will be seeing all of you in person at your doorsteps at the debates and at all of the various community events that we all participate in. I look forward to having discussions about what we've accomplished and where we're going. In the next 4 years, I hope that we are able, and is my objective to be at this table to see through, building on the momentum that we've got going as a council and as an administration to address affordable and attainable housing in our community, to ensure a safe and a clean and well-maintained city, to have a community that enjoys frictionless services from City Hall, and of course, to continue to build a sustainable and resilient Westmount. So, I will leave it at that. Thank you all for listening to my very, very long comments for the last 4 years. I look forward to speaking with you more. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Aronson. Councillor Kez for the final word. For any
I'll have a
updates.
short word. Just a little update I have quickly is in recent weeks, there's been a growing safety concern regarding the alley located behind 4024 and 4032 St. Catherine Street between Atwater and Gladstone. This is a location where the fire broke out on the evening of September 20th. Safety concerns have been taken seriously and include some of the following. The SPVM have increased their presence, be it by foot, bicycle, or by vehicles. The site has been included in the Projet Sentinelle, which increases police coverage around Cabot Square and surrounding areas, which will include the alleyway. As of October 13th, officers from Station 12 will be providing surveillance during the evenings. Additionally, our public security has assigned an officer on overtime specifically to monitor the alley and the front of the building at night. On the other hand, another thing that's happening is the city is working with property owners to ensure the exterior grounds are clean, free of garbage, debris, and encampments. The building is barricaded, reinforcing all entry points, and securing property with security presence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In addition to this, our administration is continuing to monitor the situation closely because the safety of our residents is a priority. On another note, it has been a privilege and an honor representing the residents of District 8 on this council. And I'd like to thank you, Madame Mayor, all of council, and the administration for putting up with me. I know there are times that I may have been difficult, unreasonable, but it goes along with representing a crazy area of town. And it has been an honor working with all
Quote,
of you.
unquote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kez, and for your hard work for that area, for some very, very challenging issues. And just to reiterate, the work that is going, has, sort of long been going on in that area, is many facets with the SPVM, with public security, but also with different elements of Montreal in terms of ensuring the safety around, the Cabot Square area obviously encompasses a lot of Westmount. And there are severe challenges in terms of the safety of that neighborhood. So we are working with the building owners to ensure that they play a crucial role in that as well. Donc, un gros merci pour votre travail. Puis je pense que avant qu'on commence avec la période de questions, est-ce que vous avez d'autres choses à... Oui. Oui, Madame Roux.
The answer, and to reassure Councillor Aronson, because I don't want you in a depressive state. Everybody here realizes you'd love to debate. So 7 and 8 aren't left out. So on October 15th will be District 1, 2, 3, and 4, and on October 16th will be District 5, 6, 7, and 8. Thank you.
Okay, merci pour la clarification. And just before we begin with question period, for those of you who are wondering and not why we are here today at noon, it's there are legal obligations that you have a council meeting in every calendar month, but you can't have one 30 days before an election. So therefore, we had the second that we could have a council meeting on, but in respect of Yom Kippur, we are having it today at noon. So for those who are observing, we wish you an easy fast. Donc, on va commencer avec la première période de questions. Puis après, je pense qu'on a juste une question qui a été soumise en ligne. Donc, c'est à vous, les résidents. Ou pas les résidents.
Est-ce qu'on m'entend? Oui.
Oui.
Bonjour, Julie Poulain, je suis employée de la ville depuis 2001. I'm here today on behalf of many employees to say a big thank you to Mayor
Oh.
Smith. Merci pour tout ce que vous avez fait pour la ville, mais surtout aussi merci pour votre profond sens des valeurs humaines. So, on behalf of many employees, thank you for your leadership and kindness. All the best.
Mais c'est moi qui vous remercie. And one thing I wish people had an understanding of, and I think many do, but I wish it was, I wish everybody had an understanding of it, of how incredibly lucky we are to have such dedicated employees in the city. And so I'm grateful to all of you who serve on the front lines, who, and as Madame Poulain will know, that she doesn't have an easy job in the urban planning department, but none of them are easy, but they do it with incredible dedication. Donc, un gros merci à vous, et c'était vraiment un honneur pour moi. Merci, c'est vraiment gentil.
Thank you, Councillor Bostock. Thank Councillor Roux also.
Merci, Julie. Prochaine question.
Bonjour, suivre Madame Poulain, c'est pas facile, mais néanmoins, bonne fête.
Merci.
I have one of those.
Just
my
for
name
the-
is Marc Briand, and
Perfect.
I live on De Lavigne. I have one of the question regarding infrastructure that you referred to in your comments.
Oui.
There's a stairway that connects Wood to the top of De Lavigne, and that stairway continues on to Saint-Sulpice. I'm assuming you're aware that the stairway has been closed
Yes.
for some time. And I apologize if this topic has been raised at council before, but I looked for information before coming today, and I didn't see any information before coming today, including the QR code that's printed on the poster at on the steps right now. I've not been able to see any information on why the stairs are closed, what the outlook is, what the plan for, first of all, what the problem is, and if the problem rests on a particular report. So today, perhaps coincidentally, one of your colleagues in Public Works, Mr. Alicius, called to give me some information on the steps closed in April. Apparently, there's a concern in winter, but Mr. Alicius was not able to specify what that concern is, if there is a report, if we can consult a report. But the real concern in his comments to me today was that the planned rebuild of a problem that is not yet defined, to me anyway, is as far out as 2027, which strikes me as a very long delay. And I was wondering if you had any comments about that. Perhaps it's a comment for public, perhaps it's a question directed to Public Works. I'm not sure where we stand on this, and I was hoping that there might be a
Yeah,
bit
I
of
can
information.
add some clarification on that. And I agree with you that the impact of the closing of these stairs is significant, not only for obviously the residents that live around there, but this is a direct route to many of the schools, right? So a lot of the kids that either go to St. George's, the Priory, ECS, or any of the schools up there use this as a route. And it's always been an important thing for us to encourage being able to walk safely to school. So council shares your disappointment when we were informed that these stairs had been deemed unsafe because of some structural issues in it. And this is a challenge that we have with a lot of our public stairs across the city. And they're very expensive to maintain, the public stairs. If you see the project at the Roslyn steps, which, you know, half of it had been closed, we were able to keep some of it open for a while, but I mean, that's a massive project. This, I share your frustration in that it seems like an easy fix. And I was like, you know, if I can fix a front staircase on a house, how come I can't fix a staircase? So it is something that we have certainly asked engineering to make a priority for us. So it's the engineering department that will have this in the capital works budget. And if they can also, if Public Works can maintain them in a way or repair them in a way in a short-term manner, we will connect with them again to see if that can happen. But obviously it needs, I think these stairs need a complete rebuild. And I would encourage those that are around the table the next time to make this not a 2027 priority, but to put this in the 2026 infrastructure projects. And there will be often infrastructure projects that come up that are, you have to have some room in there for the unplanned, because things will break. In an aging city, there's a lot of things that are breaking. So it's important that you have some wiggle room in there to add these things on. So I would really encourage them to be there. And if we can have Public Works have, you know, what we call maybe a Band-Aid approach to fix them. But I can assure you I've heard a whole earful of it from 4 girls who walk up those stairs to ECS every day.
Right. Well, I'm not going to compete with 4 girls.
Yeah, no,
But what I would like, though,
Yeah.
and perhaps the question again is to Public Works, is I would like to see the report that justified putting the barriers in front of the stairs. Nothing's been communicated. They showed up from one day to the next.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that we could have better communicated that.
Yeah.
So we will get back to you. If you could send me an email with your contact. I'm easy to find, csmith@westmount.org. If you could send me an email with your contact, that would be the best. That would be the best way to do it.
Okay. Thank you for hearing me out.
Merci beaucoup.
Johnson.
It is a very important question, though. Bienvenue. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Richard Dufour from Anwath. A comment and a question, if I may. The comment is, again, to thank you all for your service. It is, I think, and I know, often a thankless job, and you do deserve thank yous, and you've gotten lots of them, but people usually come to the council very often to complain and to criticize, sometimes rightfully. But when they have, you've always responded in a very, I think, respectful and graceful way, which I very much appreciate. So anyway, thank you very much for that. A question, item 7, and maybe you'll explain this later on, but I was just curious to know what item 7 was all about. Intermunicipal agreement, collection and transport of recyclable materials from semi-in-ground containers for the cities of Pointe-Claire and DOLLARD-DES-ORMEAUX. You can address it when it comes to that point.
We can address it now, and it's how we regroup with cities to reduce our costs with some of our waste management issues. Councillor Aronson, do you want to address it, though?
Sure. Briefly put, we are the city that is, or the member of this group that is responsible for handling public tender bids on items that relate to recycling and for compost. So when our partner cities need to go to tenders, we're the ones who handle it. So we need to pass a motion in order to be able to actually put out the public tender for this. But what we're doing here is fundamentally an administrative job for which the organization that we're a member of does compensate the city of Westmount to cover the manpower costs of managing this. So we get paid a 5% commission, as it were, on the compensation as compensation for the management activities that are required in order to manage this contract. So these semi-in-ground containers are ones that our partner cities have asked us to source for them.
So does that mean that Westmount is considering having these? I think I know what I mean, like des cloches, we say in French, or, you know, these kind of...
You see them in a lot of the suburban municipalities.
In Europe especially, the common way of recycling, there's these common areas people are. Is Westmount considering doing that?
So I can jump in before you want to jump in on that one. We have definitely looked at them, and Public Works has also looked at them. Our challenge compared to a place like Dollard is where would we put them? And certainly, for a long time, citizens had access to the Public Works yards, and when the Turcotte was done and we had to move it in a little bit, that access had to become more limited because of just sheer space. And it's not an entirely safe one way in, one way out. There's trucks like rolling out of there all the time. So the challenge is, where do we put them? Do you put them at the Belvedere Yards, which is all the way on the other side over by Côte-des-Neiges, which then is a little bit less accessible, certainly to anybody who's walking. But if you can think of a good spot, then. But we do see them in suburban areas, often in like shopping centers behind where they're not as visible. But I do think it would help if we can find a solution to it. I think it would be helpful. But this is part of a grouping of, and we do this a lot in terms of waste management, is grouping with others to get a lower cost.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next question.
Very fast. Paula Ingalls.
Welcome.
Thank you. I don't really have a question. I just have a big thank you to the whole council and especially to Christina, who has been amazing as a mayor. And as someone who lived here for a long time, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Paula. When I first ran for council, I got an email from Paula Ingalls out of the blue saying, I'd love to meet, if you want to be my councillor, I'd like to meet you. And she lived on Victoria, and I met with her pretty quickly thereafter. We went for a walk and a coffee, and it was a great way to get a sense of what her perspective was on the community, and she's been a cheerleader for Westmount and the services that we have. So I just wanted to say thank you, and my kids always loved when we ran into Paula and Maddie, her beloved dog, that it was always with positive feedback, and so I just want to say thank you. As to one of the first residents when I put up my signs, long before I knew what I was getting myself into. It was Paula who reached out to me. So Westmount is full of residents like that, so I want to say thank you.
I just want to say, that's why I had to say thank you, because I know that I put you through a lot.
Prochaine question. If only all council meetings had been like this, maybe I'd be sitting in this chair forever.
Well, I'm going to start with 2 comments. Happy birthday, and I believe you're 39, right?
37.
37.
But,
I
who's
stand
counting?
corrected. Just like a bunch of people ahead of me, I want to thank you, Madam Mayor, and all of the 8 city councillors. As everyone before me who's made this comment has said, it is not easy to be in public service today. Regardless of what one's views are on A, B, C, or D, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, my question, c'est une question rassembleur. At the September 18th meeting, Mayor Smith mentioned that there was a very low turnout at the elections 4 years ago in 2021. I don't remember the number, but I looked it up, and it seems to be 30% turnout of voters. Democracy functions well when everybody who can vote does vote. So my question to everyone in front of me and everyone behind me is, what can we individually and collectively do to make sure that everyone who can vote does vote?
Thank you. This is an issue that is very near and dear to my heart. And I think which I have, so I have a first-time voter in my house. My daughter is turning 18 in October, which is hard to believe. So she will be a first-time voter, and she got that. I've never seen this before, and as it's, I've been voting for a long time. She got a letter from the Quebec government explaining, that she is now on the electoral list and the importance of voting. And I just think there should be billboards everywhere. The fact that probably the most educated community in the country, if it's not the most educated, it is, definitely in the right up there, has a 30% voter turnout rate is shocking. And whether it's, sometimes it's a little bit, the last election there wasn't a mayor race, which can often drive more people to the polls as opposed to when it's a councillor race is harder to get people out there. But every citizen should commit to making 10 friends vote, and it's incredibly important. And it's the level of, there's no other level of government where you can sit here and ask those that represent you a direct question, and it's an incredibly important aspect of our democracy. And without it, we're going to be in big trouble. So I would encourage, and especially young people, they have a voice too, and this generation of voters, of young voters, the 18 to 25-year-olds, are being faced with incredible challenges and will be faced with incredible challenges as they move on to the next phases of their careers or trying to, and that's a responsibility of a city, like where you're going to live. How are you going to do that? So I encourage everyone to vote. I encourage the local paper to cover voter turnout. I encourage seniors, young people, and everybody in between to show up and care and just cast your ballot and get to know your candidates. There's great people running. We're lucky. It's the fact that, we've often had many councillors where they have, 25 people up on a stage trying to do a debate. So I understand why they're splitting it. Maybe it's so I don't think it's a record number, but we definitely have lots of councillors running. That matters. That's brave to put your face on a lamppost. So encourage them. The least we can do is show up to the polls if they're going to the trouble of pasting their face on a lamppost.
Agreed 100%. The question is, how do you encourage them? How many of the people in the 18 to 25 age group even know or care that there is an election?
So it's the role of the candidates. It's the role of democracy as well to get out there and encourage people. And these are your tax dollars. This is how your money will be spent. If you want your stairs fixed, get out and vote for the people that will make sure that that's a priority at the table. And I think that it's, everybody has a role to play in it, but apathy is boring. So, just engage. And there's lots of people, I've heard of people running that haven't voted in the past elections. So it's like, the very least we can do as a society is cast your ballot. And you should be voting in your school board elections too. You also pay that has an even more troubling turnout rate. But if you vote federally and you vote provincially, you sure as heck should be voting municipally.
Thank you. And I forgot to identify myself, Diana Bruno, Springfield Avenue.
Thank you.
If I may answer.
Oui.
So there is one new thing. I don't know if it's new. It's called mobile voting. So if you have a handicap or if you're not able to go to the vote, they'll come to your home to do the vote. I am getting some comments from residents in my district to have absentee voting. For example, some of the students are away at the university, and unfortunately, some of my residents will not be here during the two advance polls. So I would say absentee voting. And there's the new one, the mobile voting, which is in place this year. So those are two ways to increase the voter turnout. Thank you.
Merci. Prochaine question.
Hi, Tina Apfeld, Mount Pleasant.
Hi.
So first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Mayor Smith and all 8 councillors for your service to our community. So thank you all very much. Thank you also for the adjustment in the schedule of today's meeting. It is appreciated. And I'll just comment with regard to the stairs. Although there is a barrier, I often see people walking on those stairs.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
So just in terms of if it's really, really unsafe, there may be cause for concern there. My question is concerning the proposed bylaws 1644 and 1645, which will be discussed later. So you might want to answer my questions then. But combined, those are authorizing $22.5 million of repairs to buildings and infrastructure work. So my questions are, first of all, does the road work include the boulevard, which, of course, is a high priority, high traffic road? So the question is the boulevard included in those amounts?
Do you want me to answer that now or?
Whenever.
No.
Sure. No.
Okay.
Okay. 2 is the building work as high of a priority, or was there consideration for that money to be allocated to road work?
Yeah. So, do you want me to answer both those questions? If you have any other comments,
I have one more.
Okay.
And the third one is, does the repayment of the loans require an increase in taxes?
So, first to address the boulevard is not in our current. We are not doing the boulevard this year. We need to go out to public consultation for the boulevard. And just so people are warned about what's coming for the boulevard, it will probably have to be done, and I don't want to make predictions for the next council as to how they will attack it, but the suggestion will likely be that the boulevard is done over 3 years It is a complete end-to-end reconstruction, so the full 2 kilometers. It has 3 schools on it, and it has significant water mains that belong to the City of Montreal on both ends of that. So the boulevard is a very, very significant project that's going to be coming, and it's not unlike, you know, it is obviously a much bigger road than Westmount Avenue, which was tackled 8 years ago, and we had to do that in 2 different phases because of, you know, essentially cutting off the entire city of a east-west access is significant. And what we also did on Westmount Avenue, which has had significant consequences in terms of costs for the city, as a benefit, was adding water retention and catch basins the whole way along so that we better manage the water flow that comes down the mountain. All those aspects will be shared with citizens when there is a public consultation on the boulevard. But we are well aware of the state of the boulevard, of the state of the sidewalks, of the state of the impact of the schools and the traffic and all of that in terms of the flow of the east-west. And then if you think that the Roslyn Steps are causing a lot of traffic jams, it will be significant, but maybe the long-term benefit will be that people will start getting used to using the Turcotte, which is one of the most significant investments that the province has ever made in infrastructure. And so if those east-westers would like to get on the Turcotte, we would welcome that as it being a through street through our city. And then for the buildings, as I said before in my speech, it's a delicate balance, right? With roofs caving in at Public Works, where our teams work and where the trucks leave and where everything is housed, we need buildings for those teams to be able to operate. We need and to keep their equipment. And we need, you know, a constant investment. And what we've seen is that we've had to do a much higher investment in a lot of our buildings. Like, you know, City Hall took several years to sort of tackle it, and we did it in tranches. We didn't do it all in 1 year. But we try and find the balance between the roads and the parks and the buildings. And it's not easy to repair your own, but like nobody wants to be redoing their office, right? Like it's not a great look in the public's eye, but it's important. We don't, and it's heating, cooling, all of it. But it's critical that we don't end up with situations like the greenhouse, which was not maintained and ended up being a full rebuild as opposed to a maintenance project. So we have made a conscious decision to invest more in the buildings so that we are, in the long run, spending less on the buildings. So I would just, that's my 2 cents on that. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything.
The taxes?
Councillor Peart's going to answer the infrastructure side of that, or I'll let him.
I think you inquired about the taxes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. You can
Yeah.
You can give your.
It depends, right? Because the buildings have to be repaired. It's a matter of when. The roads have to be repaired. It's a matter of when. The subterranean infrastructure has to be repaired. It's a matter of when. So we can't generally afford to do all the things that we need to do all at once. So that means that we have to plan using financing for the long-term financing of these projects. Now, does that mean taxes will go up? Taxes will have to go up because we're doing more work. Now, whether that means it's because we are borrowing or we are not letting the infrastructure worsen because every time you delay the work, you are adding to the future cost of that work. So as the mayor suggested before, or informed before, everything's a balance, it's a trade-off. And we go through this exercise, this annual exercise of preparing our capital works budget, and there's a long list of you know, and we rank them, priority 1, 2, and 3. We don't get through the priority 1s. That means that every time we're not doing that, that project is just being deferred and getting more expensive as it goes along by every year deferral. So you have to have a comprehensive view of all the things that need to be done, and then you have to have a strategic plan as to how you're going to be able to finance that over the years. So it's not a simple question whether taxes are going up. It's the bigger question is, do you know what you need to do, and do you have a plan to do it?
And we're not alone in this challenge as well. So we're going to see what I expect to see. I don't want to predict the Montreal election, but I think that we can expect to see significant increases in terms of what we're going to have to pay into the agglomeration, because they too have the same infrastructure challenges, which are more costly. The cost of construction has far outpaced the cost of the rise in inflation. So it's there are difficult decisions that are made, and I hope that there's people around the table who are ready to make the difficult decisions, and you're not going to be able to get all the work done. That's just, it is a fact of life. There's too much work to be done that will accomplish all of the needs, but every year you have to keep moving it forward, because every year you delay, that project gets more expensive.
Okay, so you spoke about a strategic plan. Is there one existing already, or you're saying there should be one?
So, yes, there's a plan.
Yeah.
And then there's another plan in the works, so an asset management plan. So an asset management plan looks at all the work that needs to be done, and it matches it with a financial plan. And so that is in the works, and it's much more comprehensive. I mean, different municipalities have different levels of complexity within an asset management plan. We've already done the initial levels of an asset management plan. It exists. It's a 2017 to 2037 plan that we've talked about previously. That is out there. It's on the website to have a look at. But it is a continuously improving project. It is constant, and your asset management plan is always continuously updated.
Thank you.
And there were a lot of questions. Obviously, we did a significant investment in Sherbrooke Street this summer. Sherbrooke is not unlike the Boulevard. It will be addressed in 3 stages. But Sherbrooke is a great reminder that the real costs and the real risks are what's underground. And so sometimes you'll see Montreal will throw out asphalt for, a kilometer or whatever on roads that have not had their base repairs, have not had their hydro updated or any of it. It is truly what you could call a Band-Aid. Sherbrooke, the base was repaired. The hydro was upgraded and was desperately needed. I mean, the manhole of hydro was on the verge of collapse. But you got to do that over the next 2 summers as well for the next 2 sections. So there's lots of work to be done, as I have warned. Donc, prochaine question.
Lucien Savard.
Bienvenue, Monsieur Savard.
J'écoutais tantôt faire vos présentations individuelles, puis j'ai eu un flash. À l'époque du Parti québécois, Lucien Bouchard et Louise Arel, sous le bâillon de l'Assemblée nationale, avaient décidé une île, une ville.
Oui.
Évidemment, c'était inacceptable pour plusieurs, dont moi.
Oui, vous étiez vraiment impliqué dans ce dossier.
J'avais déménagé pas à Westmount. J'avais déménagé à Westmount, pas à Montréal. Puis là, on me mettait à Montréal. Donc, on s'est impliqué là-dedans, puis j'ai été comme le francophone de service qui est allé faire des allocutions à Saint-Léonard, à Ville-d'Anjou, dans les villes de banlieue du West Island, pour leur dire qu'à Westmount, on fait quelque chose. Faites quelque chose pour vous défusionner. Et voilà que Jean Charest nous a permis cette fenêtre où on a pu s'organiser pour se défusionner. Et je veux vous remercier parce que vous avez pris le flambeau, vous et vos prédécesseurs, pour nous amener où nous en sommes aujourd'hui. Moi, je suis très fier de vous. J'ai un grand sentiment d'appartenance à la ville de Westmount. Dans ma famille, au souper de Noël, mon épouse Francine et moi, on suggère à nos filles, nos gendres, nos petits-enfants, un thème. Ça se donne que le thème de cette année, c'est la gratitude. L'année passée, c'est le sentiment d'appartenance. Donc moi, aujourd'hui, je suis ici pour pratiquer mon thème envers vous.
Oh, vous êtes gentil.
Et vous dire comment j'apprécie ce que vous faites. Vous êtes la démocratie en action. Le fait qu'on puisse venir aussi, je sais que pour vous, la période de questions, à chaque mois, c'est lourd. Mais vous êtes patient, vous écoutez, vous répondez, vous rassurez. C'est un plus, ça renforce mon sentiment d'appartenance. Donc aujourd'hui, à Westmount, il y a des protocoles, je suis sûr, qui m'empêchent de le faire. Mais je vais vous faire la chanson de Gilles Vigneault. c'est à votre tour, ma chère mairesse, mes chères conseillères, mes chers conseillers, de vous laisser parler d'amour.
Oh, vous êtes gentil, mais c'est nous autres qui vous remercions, M. Savard, parce que c'est grâce à vous, c'est grâce à des gens comme vous qui étaient impliqués dans la bataille de diffusion. Puis c'était avec les anciens maires aussi, le maire et mairesse, mais c'est grâce à des gens comme vous qu'on a une ville maintenant. Donc, un gros merci pour vos questions, toujours. Vous étiez toujours là pendant des années de poser des questions et des questions importantes sur la sécurité, sur les rues, sur les parcs, sur les bancs pour les gens qui peuvent être impliqués. Donc, c'est moi qui vous remercie et je suis content que j'habite dans une ville avec les gens, avec les citoyens comme vous. Donc, merci. Oui?
Je voulais faire quelques commentaires parce que c'est un excellent point. Donc, je pense que le défi d'une ville défusionnée, c'est de faire les choses autrement. Et si nous, on va commencer à copier tout ce que la Ville de Montréal fasse, mais on n'a pas besoin d'être ici, on n'a pas besoin de 8 conseillers, on n'a pas besoin d'une mairesse, on peut avoir une mairesse d'arrondissement et 2 conseillers d'arrondissement. Donc, je pense que le défi pour la Ville de Westmount, c'est de faire des choses autrement, de façon intelligente et de façon distincte de la Ville de Montréal. Sinon, on n'a pas besoin de nous. Donc, merci.
Et un juste petit mot, parce que juste pour vous dire que pour que vous veniez souvent, on apprécie énormément votre engagement avec la Ville et avec nous. Alors, merci beaucoup. On apprécie ça.
Donc, est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions dans la salle? Et sinon, on va commencer avec les questions en ligne. Je pense qu'on a reçu une question en ligne.
Yes. So, question from Lynn Verge at 1200 Atwater Avenue. Will the City of Westmount compensate the Atwater Library for the cost our charitable organization has and will incur because of the Hydro Westmount power outage, one on the evening of Monday, September 22nd, 5-hour scheduled outage to do repairs in the service lane, and 2 on Tuesday, September 30th, 7 hours of repairs to a ruptured gas line. We would provide documentation of our costs resulting from each of those power outages.
So thank you for the question, and I understand that those outages certainly had a very significant impact on yesterday's was large. The area was large, and the impact on traffic at the end of the day was also significant in terms of having to shut all the traffic lights in the area. And that was, as I think as most people know, there was a gas line that was cut in the work, in the infrastructure work and the sidewalk repair that's happening on the north side of St. Catherine Street in and around Alexis Neon. I'm not sure what costs that you incurred, but certainly the inconvenience was not just felt by the Atwater Library, but by all residents in the neighborhood. And we have lots of businesses and lots of residents who, whatever, their daily routines were impacted. I'm not saying that you can't share the information and whatever legal documentation or whatever claims that you have, but I certainly can't tell you that they are going to be reimbursed by the city. So thank you for your question. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions en ligne? No? C'est beau? OK. Pas de questions dans la salle? All right, we're going to start with the next part of the agenda. Donc, avec numéro 4, c'est l'adoption de l'ordre du jour. Et ça, c'est M. Aronson, le conseiller Aronson.
Merci, Madame Mairesse. I move that the agenda of the regular council meeting of regular council sitting of October the 1st, 2025 be adopted.
Merci beaucoup et appuyé par Mme Bostock. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports to Council, in item 5.1, les rapports au Conseil, dont les 3 documents suivants sont déposés. Un avis portant sur la résolution CG 250533 de l'Assemblée du Conseil d'agglomération de Montréal et le règlement RCG 14029-8, intitulé Règlement modifiant le schéma d'aménagement de développement de l'agglomération de Montréal RCG 14029. Et je pense que le reste sont la même chose. Est-ce que je faut lire les autres documents? Non? OK, merci beaucoup. Puis aussi, la prochaine, c'est le procès-verbal du comité plénier. C'est le conseiller Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayoress. The minutes of the General Committee of Municipal Council meetings held on July the 21st, 2025, and August the 4th, 2025 are tabled and available on the city's website.
Merci beaucoup.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. So, just as a general comment, the minutes of the General Committee Council in most municipalities are not published at all. The City of Westmount, the council has agreed to, as a courtesy, publish some of the minutes, but the minutes that are being published may not be complete, and just so that the reader is aware that they may contain things that were not. For example, some of the deliberations are confidential and are not included. So just a notice to the reader regarding the minutes of the General Committee of Council. Thank you.
5.3, la liste des approbations vertu du règlement 1507, c'est conseiller Chamé.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Conformément au règlement 1507 sur la délégation de pouvoir à certains employés de la Ville de Westmount, la liste d'autorisation de dépenses pour le mois d'août 2025 est maintenant déposée.
Thank you very much. 5.4, workforce report, rapport de la main-d'œuvre. Councillor Chamé again.
Merci. Le rapport de la main-d'œuvre pour le mois d'août 2025 est maintenant déposé.
Merci beaucoup. 5.5, le registre des paiements. Councillor D'Amico.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. La liste des paiements pour le mois d'août 2025 est déposée.
Merci. 5.5 is again Councillor D'Amico, list of duties on transfer invoices.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The list of duties on transfers for the month of August 2025 are tabled.
Thank you. 5.7 is again Councillor D'Amico. C'est le dépôt d'état financier comparatif pour 2025.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Les états financiers comparatifs pour l'année 2025 sont déposés.
Merci beaucoup. Puis ça va être en ligne. They're tabled, but they are already online as I'm getting the nod from the communications department at the back. So they are currently on the city website. Item number 6, intermunicipal agreement, collection and transport of recyclable materials from semi-in-ground containers for the cities of Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-OrmeauX, PUB 2025-056. This is the issue that Councillor Aronson had been addressed before, and I can see why it raises concerns when that's the title for citizens. Donc, c'est à vous, Monsieur Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Given that, this is a bit of a complicated thing, I'm going to read the whereases so that everybody understands what it is we're doing, but I'll do it as quickly as I can. So whereas the Eco Enterprises Quebec, the EEQ, has been designated by Recycle Quebec as the management organization for the modernization of the recyclable materials collection, and whereas municipalities must now sign a partnering agreement with the EEQ for their new collection and transportation contracts. And Westmount is regrouped with the cities of Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-OrmeauX. And whereas the City of Westmount is the signatory organization of the partnering agreement with Eco Enterprises Quebec, which specifies that all the contracts related to collection and transportation of recyclable materials for all the cities included in the regrouping have got to be handled by the City of Westmount. And whereas the City of Westmount must go out for tenders for the City of Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-Ormeaux, the cities of Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-Ormeaux, for the collection and transportation of recyclable material from their semi-buried containers, award the contract to the winning bidder, and make the requests for reimbursements, and be in charge of all the exchanges with the EEQ. And whereas, as the signatory organization, the City of Westmount will be keeping 5% of the compensation for management activities given to Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-Ormeaux, which is estimated at $2,800 per year. I move that the City of Westmount agree to the terms of the intermunicipal agreement with the cities of Pointe-Claire and Dollard-Des-Ormeaux, and I further move that the Director General be authorized to sign, in the name of the city, the agreement attached to this resolution.
Thank you very much. A seconder will be Councillor Gallery. I think you had addressed these issues before, so all in favor? Carried. Item number 8, numéro 8, résolution d'appui, grande semaine des tout-petits. Oh, 7, sorry. Item number 7, application for financial assistance programme d'aide financière au développement des transports actifs dans les périmètres urbains. C'est encore Monsieur Aronson.
So this time I'm dispense with whereases, but give a brief comment before we vote so that we all understand what we're doing here. So I move that the City of Westmount submits a request for financial assistance, and that the City of Westmount acknowledge and confirm, having read and understood the program's terms and conditions, confirm its commitment to carry out the eligible project in accordance with the terms and conditions in force, recognizing that the failure to comply with these terms and conditions will result in the termination of financial assistance. And further, I move to authorize the Director General to sign any document or agreement, including the financial assistance agreement, if applicable, with the Ministère des Transports et de Mobilité Durable.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Councillor Bostock. Do you want to add some further commentary before we vote on this one?
Yes. So this is the program I just mentioned is one that's offered by the government of Quebec to facilitate, to offer us money in the amount of, we could get financial assistance in the amount of $229,950 towards the estimated $459,900, including taxes, that we would have to spend to comply with laws and regulations and obtain necessary authorizations for implementing additional Bixi bike sharing projects. So, as you know, the Bixi is extremely popular in Westmount. There has been a lot of citizen request for additional Bixi stations. That is something that we can make happen, and lucky for us, the government of Quebec is willing to share the bill, but only if we make this request for financial assistance. And so I would urge all of the councillors here to vote with me in favor of letting the folks up in Quebec City help us pay the bill for more Bixi stations.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Councillor Bostock. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Now, item 8, which is résolution d'appui grande semaine des tout-petits. Ça, c'est Councillor Roux.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Alors, je vais le faire en français, puis je vais lire les attendus que pour donner un peu de contexte. Alors, attendu que la 10e édition de la Grande Semaine des Tout-Petits se tiendra du 17 au 23 novembre 2025. Attendu que les Tout-Petits devraient pouvoir jouir de conditions de vie leur permettant de développer leur plein potentiel. Attendu que cette année, la semaine se tient sous le thème 10 ans d'ascension et encore tant à gravir. Ensemble, offrons à chaque Tout-Petit les moyens d'atteindre son sommet. Attendu que la Grande Semaine des Tout-Petits vise notamment à informer sur l'état de bien-être des Tout-Petits, sensibiliser les acteurs et actrices de tous les secteurs de la société aux bienfaits et aux retombées de mesures d'action collective en petite enfance et en pérennité, mobiliser les acteurs et actrices de tous les secteurs de la société autour de l'importance d'agir tôt, mettre en valeur les bons coups des acteurs et actrices de tous les secteurs de la société en matière de petite enfance et de périnatalité, briser les silos pour mieux joindre les familles isolées au début de la grossesse et jusqu'à l'âge de 5 ans, mettre en place des conditions assurant le succès de la mise en œuvre des programmes ou de politiques publiques favorables au développement des tout-petits et de leurs familles. Attendu que les instances municipales sont les plus proches des familles et peuvent avoir un impact tangible sur la qualité de vie et le bien-être en prenant des décisions qui ont une incidence directe sur les enfants de tout âge. Attendu que les villes ont le pouvoir d'agir sur les conditions de vie des jeunes familles en élaborant des programmes et des politiques leur étant destinés et visant à leur offrir des services adaptés. Je propose que la semaine du 17 au 23 novembre 2025 soit proclamée la Semaine des Tout-Petits, qu'une levée de drapeau thématique de la Grande Semaine des Tout-Petits et ou du drapeau Municipalité Amie des enfants soit effectuée en cet honneur.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Councillor Chamy. Do you have any further comments on this?
Well, we've got a great community, and I think most of our little kids are off to a good start, but we can never think that they all are. So be kind to them, have a good word that can make a difference for a lifetime, lend a helping hand when you see that they need it, and let's hope that they can all flourish, be happy and healthy, well-adjusted adults, and that they feel our sense of community. And please keep that in mind outside of our community also. They're our future. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, all in favor? Item number 9, discontinuance without cost legal proceedings 500-17-127825-233, ET 500-17-098516-175. And this is Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I should read the whereases.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas on May 1st, 2017, the City of Westmount filed a motion for an interlocutory and permanent injunction and declaratory judgment against KPH Turcotte and partenariat SENC, KPH Turcotte, and the Procureur Général du Québec, PCQ, acting on behalf of the Ministère des Transports, de la Mobilité durable et de l'électrification des transports, MTQ, under case number 500-17-0985-16-175. Whereas this action concerns the noise caused by the reconstruction of Route 136 and was intended to require the defendants to construct noise barriers due to changes made to the layout of Route 136, whereas the parties to the action agreed to a joint analysis of noise levels conducted by SNC-Lavalin, now known as Atkins-Reales, and whereas this analysis was submitted to the parties at the end of the summer of 2025, and it appears from this analysis that noise levels after the project are generally lower than the noise levels before the project. Whereas the joint expert report in this case puts an end to the debate between the parties, and whereas on November 30th, 2023, the City of Westmount filed an application for judicial review against the PGQ, acting on behalf of the Ministère de l'Environnement, de la lutte contre les changements climatiques et de la faune et des parcs, Ministère de l'Environnement, under case 517-1278-2233. Whereas this proceeding, the city seeks to have October 23rd, 2023 decision of the Ministry of Environment according to the MTQ satisfactorily fulfilled its obligations under Condition 15 of Decree 890-2010 concerning the noise assessment executed 1 year following the open of new Route 136 declared null and void. And whereas the MTQ must conduct an assessment 5 years after the construction of the new Route 136, making the debate regarding the assessment after 1 year theoretical, whereas it's in the best interest of the city to close these two cases as it no longer has the legal grounds necessary to pursue them, and whereas the defendants have agreed that the City of Westmount will discontinue without cost the two proceedings it has initiated, I move, Madam Mayor, that the City of Westmount discontinue without cost the legal proceedings it has initiated under case numbers 517-127825-233 and 517-0985-16-175, and finally to authorize the city clerk to sign any documents for the execution of this discontinuance.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. This is a long, complicated file that the city has been working on for years in terms of when they rebuilt the MTQ with a sound barrier on the south side, I might add. It was with the understanding that they would lower certain sections of the Turcotte, which would have had a positive impact on our residents in terms of noise. That was not actually the case, and that had not been effectively, that had changed course throughout the presentations that they were doing on this project. And it seemed wholly unjustified that the south side received a sound barrier and not the north side, in terms of impact on residences that really abut that really go right up almost to the Turcotte and have had that noise impact for years. And when you're building a new highway, one of the regulations from the Quebec Ministry is that you can't make things worse. And we had tried to argue for them to pay this, even, we had tried to stop it in its building, to have them integrate the sound barrier. We were unsuccessful on that in terms of pushing that from a court case. And so we have worked with them to try and find a solution through, and, having to do it through the lawyers and through courts. And the latest sound readings are that it has not made it worse. So we obviously can't ignore the science on this. And while this is not the outcome that we would have liked in terms of the MTQ having to take responsibility for this sound barrier, it would be unwise to continue the legal action on this front. But it's certainly an issue that I know that our local M&A cares deeply about and will continue to advocate for. Madame Kez ou Monsieur Aronson, est-ce que vous avez quelque chose à ajouter pour ce dossier important?
Yeah, the most recent sound noise levels were just taken a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So those, I guess, were read and
Yeah.
proved not to be, it's unfortunate, it's frustrating, and I'm hoping our Jennifer Macaron can continue pushing.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor. And all good?
Nothing to add to that.
Okay.
We'd all like to see this done. It's a promise made long before any of us sat in these seats. We'd like to see it fulfilled, but you know, unfortunately there's no relief in sight yet. We will need to speak with our colleagues at the Quebec level and see what can be done.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, all in favor? Carried. Item number 10, writing off of unpaid hydro accounts and customer accounts is again Councillor Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Hydro Westmount has registered a total of $23,583.02 in bad debts for its 2022 operating year in the 2025 operating budget, whereas council may write off debts owed to the city, and whereas the accounts receivable, which are the subject of requests for authorization, have been entrusted to a collection procedures without success, I move, Madam Mayor, that the lists of Hydro Westmount's unpaid customer accounts for the year 2021 attached hereto to be written off in the amount of $23,583.02 without taxes.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Madame Gallery. Any further comments? No.
It's,
All in favor? Item number 11, awarding of contract stabilization work on the southwest facade of the old incinerator. Councillor Bostock.
I move to authorize an expenditure of $132,305.25, including tax credit for the reinforcement of the southwest facade of the incinerator, public call for tenders, PUB 2025-059, and to award the contract to MC Rainville, Inc. for this purpose at the price of its bid for a maximum amount of $144,891.50, taxes included, all in accordance with the contractual documents of the public call for tenders, PUB 2025-059.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. This is another example of buildings that, I think there's one last line there. Charge this expenditure.
I didn't turn the page. And to charge this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 5420.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. This is another example of buildings that require investment and maintenance. A lot of residents probably don't even realize we have an incinerator, but it's connected essentially to the Turcotte and to the back of our public works yard. Will likely need to be repurposed. Well, it is, anyway, it needs some work so that it doesn't, it needs some investment so it doesn't collapse in on itself. So, all in favor? It's unfortunate. Item 12, professional services bid waiting and evaluation grid is Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that Council approves the evaluation grid proposed for professional services tenders pertaining to professional services tenders and invitations to quote evaluated at more than $133,800, taxes included, unless otherwise specified. That the system of bid waiting and evaluating can still be used for professional services tender over $25,000 through a formal invitation to bid process, unless otherwise specified. That this evaluation grid be valid for 2026.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Gallery. Any further?
This is an annual approval that we make. It formalizes the way that we issue RFPs or requests for proposals from our consultants for professional services, and it establishes how those RFPs are scored.
Thank you. An important tool in a province where we are required to go with the lowest conforming bid.
But the lowest conforming bidder does not necessarily
Not
mean
saying
the lowest.
meet, yes.
Does not necessarily mean the lowest price. So this evaluates the proposals based on both quality and price.
Yeah, which is crucial. So seconded by Councillor Gallery. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Item number 13, professional services bid waiting and evaluation grid 1 envelope. This is again Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that council approve the system of bid waiting and evaluating, including a price, one-step process with one envelope only for professional services mandates evaluated at more than $133,000 or $800, taxes included unless otherwise specified. That this evaluation grid attached to its resolution be valid for 2026.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this?
This is a slightly different variation of the one previous, which is this is a single envelope. The other one is a dual envelope.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Item number 14, numéro 14, octroi de contrat remplacement du commutateur 800 de Victoria Hall et INV 2025-021. Et ça, c'est M. Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve an expenditure of $121,889.60, including taxes, to replace the existing manual transfer switch in Victoria Hall with a new 800A automatic switch, INV 2025-021, and to Michel Guimont, Entrepreneur Électricien Limité, the contract for this purpose at the price of its tender for a maximum amount of $121,889.60, including taxes, all in accordance with the contractual documents of call for tenders by invitation INV 2025-021, and finally, to allocate this expense according to the financial information described in the decision-making file 5412.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Bostock. Do you have any further comments?
Nope.
All in favor? Aye. Carried. Item number 15, numéro 15, modification d'un bon de commande DHC Avocat Inc., dossier 500-17-111-994-201. Et celui-là, c'est M. Chamy encore.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that an amount of $17,246.25, all taxes included, be added to the purchase order of BC 032916 to cover legal fees related to the case number 517-111-994-201 for the services of DHC Avocat Inc., that an amount of $15,748.13, including the tax credit, for a maximum amount of $17,246.25, taxes included, be allocated in accordance with the financial information set out in decision-making file 5322. And finally, that the city clerk be authorized to sign any documents necessary to safeguard the city's position and defense, including any act in her capacity as the city's representative in said case.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Gallery. Any further comments on this?
Straightforward.
All in favor? Aye. Carried. Item number 16, c'est le renouvellement du contrat location tracteur-chargeur avec opérateur PUB 2023-041. Ça, c'est Conseiller Bostock.
I'm going to miss doing these ones. I move that the contract PUB 2023-041 awarded to Les Entreprises de Construction Ventec Inc. for the rental of loader tractors with operators, Resolution 2023-11-286, be renewed under the one-year renewal option for services covering the period from November 1st, 2025 to April 30th, 2026, and that the amount of $653,920.31, taxes included, be allocated to cover services for the period from November 1st, 2025 to April 30th, 2026, and that the amounts be charged in accordance with the financial information set out in the decision-making file number 5352.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. Any further comments on this?
Nope.
All in favor? Carried. Cancellation of a call for tenders PUB 2025-044, rental of loader tractors with operators. Again, is Councillor Bostock.
I move that the public call for tenders PUB 2025-044 for the rental of loader tractors with operators be canceled due to the absence of a compliant bid. That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, that's in French.
Yeah. No, it's a cancellation of the call for tenders because there were no submissions. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Item number 18, numéro 18, c'est modification du contrat restauration de l'escalier Roslyn, PUB 2025-016. Conseiller Bostock.
I move that an additional amount of $136,204.54, including tax credit, $149,161.72, including taxes, be allocated to the contract for the restoration of the Roslyn staircase, public call for tenders PUB 2025-016, awarded to Saho Construction, Inc., that the contract awarded to Saho Construction, Inc. under the call for tenders be increased to $3,132,396.20, including taxes, and that this expenditure be charged in accordance with the financial information provided in the decision-making file number 5425.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor D'Amico. This would be a great example of how the costs increased dramatically as we delayed this project just because of the demands on the capital works budgets every year, and has become, it is a significant project that's having a significant impact also on the mobility of the area, but it will be done soon enough. All in favor? Carried. Did we have, sorry, the seconder on that was Councillor D'Amico. Item number 19, additional funds, Doug Ellis Memorial Garden, is Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the contract awarded to Hodgins and Associates, HETA, for assistance in the construction of the Douglas Firstbrook Ellis Memorial Garden be increased by $3,834.42, taxes included, or $3,501.33, including tax credits, and that the purchase order BC 030237 be increased in accordance with the decision-making information contained in the file number 5349.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Gallery, as this is an additional cost on the Memorial Garden, which is open, and I hope all residents have had a chance to go and see and pay their respects to. Seconded by Councillor Gallery. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Item number 20, transfer of purchase order to Robinson Shepherd Shapiro, SENCRL, case 517-132-979-256. This is also Councillor Shammy.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the amounts allocated to the purchase order BCO 32830 be transferred to a new purchase order for Robinson Shepherd Shapiro, SENCRL.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Roux. Any further comments?
It's just a transfer.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 21, mandate for legal services, IMK SENCRL. And this is again Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that council authorize the initiation of legal proceedings against the Tarani Family Trust, owner of the building located at 4024-4032 St. Catherine Street West, in order to obtain a court order requiring the trust to secure the building as a matter of urgency, that the city clerk be authorized to sign on behalf of the city any proceedings required for the implementation of this resolution, and that the creation of a purchase order for IMK SENCRL be authorized, and that a sum of $34,492.50, including taxes, at $31,259.63, including tax credits, be allocated to it to undertake these legal proceedings.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Councillor Kez would like to second this one. She had addressed this earlier in the meeting, and this is to ensure the safety of that building. So it's unfortunate that we have to take this step, but this is a complex and complicated area of the city. Do you want to add anything further to what you talked about before?
No, this is something that has to be done. It would have been nice if the owner of this property would have just responded to our initial request, but we have to do what we have to do to keep the area safe.
But I appreciate the speed with which the SPVM has worked with
Absolutely.
Our DG and our public security on this issue. So thank you very much. So seconded by Councillor Kez. All in favor? Carried. Item number 22, creation of a purchase order, Bélanger Sauvé, SENCRL, file 500-22-290725-251. This is again Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that a purchase order be issued to the law firm Bélanger Sauvé SENCRL to cover legal fees related to case number 22-2907-25-251, that an amount of $20,997.50, including tax credits, and a maximum sum of $22,995, taxes included, be allocated in accordance with the financial information set out in decision-making file 5401, and that the city clerk be authorized to sign any documents necessary to ensure the defense of the city, including any act in her capacity as the city's representative in said case.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Aronson. Any further comments on this? This funds are only needed if, or will only be used if needed. It is not, it's not a check being written for this amount. You want to add any further comments to that? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? The motion is passed. Item number 23, awarding of contract and purchase order creation Miller Thompson SENC files SAI-M179472-1012, SAI-M-181888-1103, SAI-M-264182-1708, SAI-M-264184-1708 is again Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Another similar envelope. I move that the city mandate the law firm Miller Thompson SENCRL to represent it in its case 500-17098-460-176, as well as in cases SAI-M 179472-1012, SAI-M 181888-1103, and SAI M264182-1708, and finally SAI M264184-1708, that a purchase order be issued to Miller Thompson SENCRL to pay the legal fees related to the above-mentioned cases, and that an amount of $15,000, all taxes included, which is $13,748.13, including tax credits, be allocated in accordance with the financial information set out in decision-making file 5416, and that the city clerk be authorized to sign any document required to ensure the city's defense, including any act as the city's representative in said case.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this one? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 24, création d'un bon de commande BFL Canada, dossier 517 128 405 241, ET 517 128 441 246. C'est encore Monsieur Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that a purchase order be issued to BFL Canada to cover legal fees up to the deductible amount provided for it in its insurance contract in connection with case numbers 500-17-128-405-241 and 500-17-128-441-246, and that an amount of $20,997 tax credits and a maximum amount of $22,995, all taxes included, be allocated in accordance with the financial information set out in the decision-making file 5366.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this one? And that brings an end to the legal contracts. So all in favor? Carried. We now move to urban planning, aménagement urbain. C'est le numéro 25, c'est le dépôt des procès-verbaux des assemblées du comité consultatif d'urbanisme pour le septembre 2025. C'est Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que le Conseil prenne acte et accepte le dépôt des procès-verbaux du comité consultatif d'urbanisme, le CCU, pour les assemblées suivantes. Assemblée ordinaire tenue le 2 et 4 septembre 2025. Assemblée spéciale tenue le 2 septembre 2025. C'est des demandes de dérogation mineure.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Madame Gallery. All in favor? Carried. Item number 26, approval of site planning and architectural integration programs. C'est encore Monsieur Peart.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. I move that Council act on the recommendations of the Planning Advisory Committee, the PAC, as set out in the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 2nd and 4th of 2025, 18 applications. The special meetings held on August 5th of 2025, 1 application, and September 2nd of 2025, 2 applications. and that it approve, with respect to each of them, the plans and permanent conditions attached to the items listed below as assessed in accordance with the bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gallery. Lots of windows and doors. Anything of note in here that
Nothing
you want to
pops out.
highlight?
No.
All in favor? Carried. And now we have item number 27, décision sur une demande suite à recommandation défavorable du CCU 575 Avenue Lansdowne. C'est Madame Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will read the whereases. Whereas the minutes of the regular meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, held on August 5th and 7th, 2025, were tabled at the September 8th, 2025 sitting. Whereas the primary role of the PAC is to analyze and issue recommendations on any application that must be submitted to it under the Act respecting Land Use Planning and Development, CQLR, CA-19.1, as well as any other urban planning and land use application referred to it by council. Whereas an application was submitted by the applicant in accordance with Bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs regarding 575 Lansdowne Avenue. Whereas the PAC issued an unfavorable opinion concerning said request as stated in the minutes of its regular meeting held on August 5th and 7th, 2025, under item CCU 25-08.03 of the agenda of said meeting. Whereas in accordance with Bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs, SPAIP, the municipal council must adopt a resolution concerning the opinion of the PAC. I move, Madam Mayor, that the City Council approve the conditions of the site planning and architectural integration program for the issuance of a permit according to the plans and documents submitted as part of permit application 2025-00007-PEEA 2025-03014 or concerning 575 Lansdowne for the modification of the staircase providing access to the residents in the front yard. That these plans and documents be attached to the this resolution as an integral part hereof.
Councillor Roux would like to second it. So it's not every day that we have, or it's not every council meeting where we have défavorable from the PAC and council moves to adopt it. So that's the situation we're in right now. But I think the whereases were fairly complex on that one. So seconded by Councillor Roux. Do you have any further comments?
Nope, straightforward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Another minor exemption is application for 564 Claremont Avenue. And this is again moved by Councillor Gallery,
Okay, here we go.
which is typical that we do read the whereases when it is a minor exemption.
Yeah. Whereas the City of Westmount Bylaw 1576 on minor exemptions was adopted on September 20, 2021. Whereas a minor exemption must comply with the planning program. Whereas the exemption must be considered minor in quantitative terms in terms of environmental impact and architectural terms. Whereas the application of the regulatory provisions targeted by the application causes serious harm to the person requesting the minor exemption. Whereas the exemption shall not hinder the owners of neighboring properties in the enjoyment of their rights of ownership. Whereas the exemption does not exacerbate safety or public health risks or affect the quality of the environment or general well-being. Whereas the minor exemption application is aimed at allowing the landscaping of the front yard with 63.58% vegetation coverage, even though section 5.5.9.2 of zoning bylaw 1303 stipulates that the vegetated area must not represent less than 70% of the total area of the said front yard, which is a difference of 6.42% in order to achieve compliance. Whereas the property has a fully paved parking area in the front yard located between the building line and the sidewalk, which complies with section 5.5.8.2 of zoning bylaw 1303. Whereas the presence of this compliant parking area prevents compliance with the minimum standard of 70% vegetation coverage in front yards as provided for in section 5.5.9.2 of zoning bylaw 1303. Whereas this parking area will be greened with new honeycomb paving as part of the landscaping proposal submitted to increase vegetation cover in the front yard. Whereas the proposed front yard landscaping provides for an increase in vegetation coverage from the current 48.93% to 63.58%, thereby bringing it closer to compliance with Section 5.5.9.2 of Zoning Bylaw 1303, whereas the vegetation coverage in the front yard could not achieve compliance with Section 5.5.9.2 of Zoning Bylaw 1303 without removing the entire existing parking area. Whereas the applicant remains that the parking area located in front yard is necessary in order to park safely on his property. Whereas the minutes of the special meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, held on September 2nd, 2025, were tabled at this meeting, whereas the PAC has issued an opinion on this application as set out in the minutes of its special meeting on minor exemption applications held on September 2nd, 2025. I move, Madam Mayor, that the above preamble form an integral part of this resolution, that Council approve the application for a minor exemption aimed at allowing the landscaping of the front yard with 63.58% vegetation coverage, even though Section 5.5.9.2 of Zoning Bylaw 1303 stipulates that the vegetated area must not represent less than 70% of the total area of the said front yard, which is a difference of 6.42% in order to achieve compliance.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Peart. Do you want to add any? It's fairly comprehensive. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 21, minor exemption application 325 Metcalfe Avenue is again Councillor Gallery.
Thank you. Pardon? 29.
Oh, 20, did I say 21? Sorry, 29. Item 29, minor exemption application 325 Metcalfe Avenue.
Okay. Whereas the City of Westmount's bylaw 1576 on minor exemptions was adopted on September 2021, whereas a minor exemption must comply with the planning program, whereas the exemption must be considered minor in quantitative terms in terms of environmental impact and architectural terms, whereas the application of the regulatory provisions targeted by the application causes serious harm to the person requesting the minor exemption, whereas the exemption shall not hinder the owners of neighboring properties in the enjoyment of their rights of ownership, whereas the exemption does not exacerbate safety or public health risks or affect the quality of the environment or general well-being, whereas the minor exemption application for 325 Metcalfe Avenue seek to allow the construction of an accessory building in the backyard that would be located 1 meter from the rear lot line, even though point 1 of subsection 5.3.5 of Zoning Bylaw 1303 stipulates that an accessory building must be established on the rear line of a lot or land, whereas the proposed accessory building in the backyard could not be located on the rear lot line in order to comply with the minimum horizontal clearance of 1 meter from overhead power lines crossing the backyard, as required by Hydro Westmount following an on-site assessment, whereas the proposed location of the accessory building is the best option in this situation, whereas the minutes of the special meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, held on September 2nd, 2025, were tabled at this meeting, and whereas the PAC has issued an opinion on this application as set out in the minutes of its special meeting on minor exemption applications held on September 2nd, 2025. Je propose que le préambule ci-dessus fasse partie intégrante de la présente résolution, que le Conseil approuve la demande de dérogation mineure visant à permettre l'implantation d'un bâtiment accessoire en cour arrière qui serait situé à 1 mètre de la ligne de l'eau arrière, et ce, bien que le point 1 de sous-section 5.3.5 du règlement du zonage 1303 prévoit qu'un bâtiment accessoire peut être établi sur la ligne arrière de l'eau ou terrain.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Councillor Peart. All in favor? Carried. The next item is adoption of bylaw 1645, authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $5 million for the refurbishment of municipal buildings. It's Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, avant que je commence avec la graphière, je m'excuse.
Donc, je confirme que toutes les formalités requises pour la dispense de lecture de ce règlement ont été respectées et que des copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du Conseil et mises à la disposition du public.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que je peux avoir la déclaration de la part de chaque membre du Conseil présent à l'effet qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement et que la lecture en est dispensée? Thank you. Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll give you the objectives. I'd like to explain that the purpose of bylaw 1645, authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $5 million for the refurbishment of municipal buildings, is to provide funding for necessary work in several buildings owned by the city. No changes have been made to the bylaw since it was tabled before council on September 8th, 2025. And whereas the notion of motion regarding bylaw 1645 authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $5 million for the refurbishment of municipal buildings was given at the council meeting held on September 8th, 2025, and the draft bylaw was tabled at that time. Whereas a copy of the said bylaw 1645 was delivered to council members at least 2 days prior to this meeting. Whereas all council members present declared that they had read the draft bylaw and waived its reading, I move, Madam Mayor, that bylaw 1645 authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $5 million for the refurbishment of municipal buildings be and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Bostock. Any further, we had addressed this earlier in the meeting. Any further comments? No? All in favor? Carried. Item number 31, again, this one is Councillor Peart, actually. Adoption bylaw 1644, authorizing an expenditure of a loan of 17.5 for various roadwork, water main, and sewer projects. Councillor Peart.
Yeah. Well, it's
Oh, je
actually,
m'excuse,
it was
avant
both of us are in there. The Councillor Shammy's doing the explanation, and then I do
Okay.
the moving. So
OK,
whichever.
donc on commence encore avec la graphière.
Donc, je confirme que toutes les formalités requises pour la dispense de lecture de ce règlement ont été respectées. Les copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du Conseil et mises à la disposition du public.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que je peux avoir la déclaration de la part de chaque membre du Conseil présent à l'effet qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement et que la pensée?
So declared.
Parfait. On commence avec M. Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wish to explain that the purpose of bylaw 1644, authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $17,500,000 for various roadwork, water main, sewer projects, is to provide funding for various necessary infrastructure projects in the coming year. No changes have been made to this bylaw since it was tabled before council on September 8th, 2025.
Merci beaucoup. Puis je pense que c'est M.
Peart will-
maintenant. Thank you. Councillor Peart.
I will take over. Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that bylaw 1644, authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $17,500,000 for various roadwork, water main, and sewer projects be and is hereby adopted.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Shammy. I just would reiterate what Councillor Peart had said before in that in terms of category priority 1, 2, 3 of the infrastructure work that we have to do in this city, it is impossible even to get through category 1. The work is enormous, the demands are enormous, and there's no shortage of projects that need to be done over the coming years. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 32 is new business, management agreement, Bixby, Montreal, and that is Councillor Kez.
I will forego the whereases. And I move that the updated management agreement be approved and that the Director General be authorized to sign in the name of the city. That $120,589.23, taxes included, be added to the BC 020667 over 3 years to cover the operating costs of 2 winter stations and 5 new stations on the territory until 2028, bringing the number of stations on the territory to 13.
Thank you, Councillor Kez, seconded by Councillor Bostock. This was raised before, that there is a significant demand on the Bixby stations, in particular those around the Maisonneuve bike path.
And there's the winter.
And we have, this year, we have 2 of the winter ones, which is growing throughout the network in Montreal. So, all in favor? Carried. Item number 33, 33, règlement d'une réclamation 54 Croissant Forden Crescent. This is Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the sum of $49,142.80 be paid to the claimant in compliance with the Financial Information and Decision-Making File 5341, that the claim be settled without admission of liability, and that payment of the amount be conditional upon the signing of a full and final release in relation to this event.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Peart. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And I don't believe we've added any other new agenda items to the agenda. No. Donc, on a la deuxième période de questions. S'il y a des questions. Sinon, it's over. No questions from the room? No questions online? Do we have any online questions submitted? No? No questions from the room? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Yes. One last time.